we obviously talked about practice yesterday. The first couple of days, where's it been offensively in terms of where you might want it and you thought it might be?
Oh, come on, Mike. I mean, you probably asked that question in like 1995. I was on the list of like, let me ask Coach after 2 days. Offense.
No. There's been snap issues. There's been penalties. There's been.
Well, I'll tell you today. So yeah, we had 40 live snaps, and we had 2 false starts. So, and then the high red zone. So those are things you work on. It's hot. You got to think. They happen both at the end of practice when they usually happen. That's where a lot of mental mistakes happen. Guys get fatigued. That's why you want to be in great shape. But that's the stuff that gets you beat. Those are probably 4-point swings. Maybe you may get too backed up. You miss a field goal. I mean, we've seen how they'll go. But those are all lessons and hard lessons. And you know, the operational issues. I think you call them issues, but if that's the sensational line you want to go in a training camp. But you know, a lot of times it's the young guys. I'll be a little more patient with Javon Gwynn, but if one happened with Ryan Newsel yesterday, yeah, you got higher expectation. Javon Gwynn's had 2 real practices at center. You got a little more leeway. But yeah, those are stuff that you got to fix if you want to continue. And we want to make sure we're the least penalized team or in the bottom. And then it's not just about the low penalty numbers. It's also, when I said this yesterday, I believe, it's critical penalties, red zones. You go back and you look at a chance to go up multiple possessions, and you get those 4-point swings, fumble in the red zone, which happened a couple times. Happened in the Charger game, happened in the Saint game. You get a procedure penalty. That happened to us week 1 down there. You never know what was going to happen, right? It's a little, advantage more on defense on 3rd and 8 from the 8th and 3rd and 3, when you're in those situations. And those are 4-point swings, and that's what you got to eliminate if you want to take the step and be a consistent playoff team and be really damn good in the red zone.
I remember last year when you were talking about quarterbacks and how you want them to approach training camp, and in the spring you talked that you want them to take more deep shots in this time of year. Is that kind of the same philosophy?
Yeah, I mean, you're asking some of the 7-on-7 stuff, and that's usually the first period, right? All different philosophies. I would say this, what happens a lot of times if, again, there's no threat to step up, right? I mean, we're not going to call a draw on 7-on-7. I've seen a coach do that before, but we're not going to do that. But obviously, it's like it's a passing situations. You're taking with a grain of salt. Guys sometimes they get frustrated because they don't want to keep checking down or they don't want to take the underneath, and you force a shot. Like the way that period started, I think they backed up 30 yards on Jonnu, and he wanted to force it to him. I mean, Jonnu's made some plays. They're obviously building some trust already with him. But don't be greedy. Now, if there's a guy that's you thought was a penalty machine out there and you just said, hey, you heat checked it, I got you. But, there's a completion underneath. Again, I'd rather have guys you want to pull back. It's a fine line from being my man Rick Vaughn coming out of the gate, and wanting to settle down. But which Des does a good job of. I mean, you go back historically, that's what coaching is. That's a guy that's you're trying to develop as a quarterback because you love his leadership traits. He's not scared of any moment, and kind of how the practice went, right, Mike? Kind of settle down and gets in a rhythm. Missed the one in the field. Okay, you missed it. But the other 2 trying to force something. You don't want to take his initiative away, but you also want to use them as teaching moments. Playing smart.
Does the defense always have the advantage to start the practice session?
I wouldn't call it an advantage. We got our face ripped off in the stopping the run yesterday in shell coverage. So, again, you take that with a grain of salt too, right? We're not tackling. But that's the give and take of practice. What's real, what's not. The old win the day, okay, there was a couple plays a day that even the one he threw up to Drake late, that's a sack. We didn't block that. Now I let him throw, but he's backing up and trying to get his buddy Drake in there, and that wouldn't have been real if he had caught it. He may have oohed and ah in the end zone, but that's not a real play. Then I got frustrated. Brew comes wide open, but some of those young guys in there, I take the easy way out and go lateral on a keeper, and the EK comes flying through, and so he has to pull up and run. Those are the little things that you're looking at as a coach and evaluating. You're not going to see that, and that's not me talking like arrogant, tough guy coach. I mean, those are things that happen, so you're always taking with a grain of salt. As you get down there procedurally. So to say he won, I don't know, do we have 150 yards rushing and couple critical downs, completions. Is that a win the day for the offense? No. Defensively, you're judging, what's real or not, and you're trying to create those environments. Like we had a call-up period today to put more stress on the guys, because sometimes when you get into practices, when you're scripting, guys try to memorize those plays, but that's not how the game's played. So those are all the little things and nuances from period to period, or maybe certain things you want to see that you're trying to manage. And so for 2 days, I'll say this, overall, I feel great. We got the right guys. We got guys that want to compete. You got guys that want to come out there, and they want to – the great teams and great players in all the history of sports, usually they want to practice hard, and they want that competition. The guys that shy away, that want to be the Instagram stars, you can speed up the Instagram, we can ooh and ah this time of year, and they go out there week one and get their get jammed, can't get off the line, stuff like that. Those are the guys you don't want to play with. So we got the right guys.
For 2 days, does your defensive line feel different to you?
Absolutely.
To maybe last year?
Absolutely. Obviously, not just size-wise, depth. I love it. I love that energy. The O-line, D-line. Those older offensive line, they've been with each other for a while. You could see those. That's, Mike, to go back, that's where a lot of those big runs happen. Those guys are in sync. But, like Zach Harrison today, I let a play go he would have sacked him. But I let Logan keep going to complete the ball so we can get some work in the coverage. So I didn't blow it dead. And he's smart enough because you got the right guys. You're not going to do dumb stuff and do the helmet taps or whatever. Like I got Zach. I walked over to him and say, Zach, I got you. That's a sack. But I let it go because I wanted the coverage to work to continue the rep. So those are encouraging signs. AK yesterday I thought looked pretty damn good. Those are the things too. Talking about going back to the practice tape, some of the other multiple roles we're asking him. He had a great leverage on a drop. And a coverage that made us hold the ball, and then here came, we held it an extra second, and here came David and Grady. That's a sack, but that's an RBI cause because we couldn't get the ball because AK did a nice job, So those are little things that you're looking for, technique. I thought he's playing really well with his hands. Those are all encouraging signs as a coach that you're watching with guys like that, but it certainly feels different, Josh.
You talk about, making mistakes is going to happen.
Yeah.
Harder on some of the guys and others. Saw you kind of interacting with Drake a little bit after that one play. Are you harder on him maybe a little bit?
Absolutely. But Drake's the right guy. That's why we love him. He's so God. I don't know what I don't get in trouble. Like he's so competitive. That's what endeared us to him, And it was good to have him and Clark go at it. Clark's a competitive dude. It was an old Pac-12 matchup. Is that over now, the Pac-12?
Not yet.
Okay.
Life support.
So, Utah, USC, Clark didn't back down. And so that's good to see. Those are the kind of guys you want.
Having Jonnu Smith, having been in this building for a few months now, how has he evolved as a player since the last time you two worked together?
Like with a lot of experience, more reps you take in any job helps. Certainly a different experience going to New England, completely different system, different way they do things, And Jonnu is one of the most persistent players I've ever coached, and you could tell, he's grown a lot as a player from a couple years. So we're happy to have him.
Talked a little bit about the D-line improvement, but what have you seen specifically out of Grady Jarrett, and how has he acted any differently now that he's got a lot more talent around him this year?
Well, it's hard for me to answer that talent question because I have such a great appreciation for every player that's been to this program, and those guys grind it out. Do we have more resources allocated there? Absolutely. But Grady, what I saw with Grady last year, and I think I've been on record saying this, there have been some veterans here for a while ahead of them. That were usually the way it goes is the guys look to the guys who get paid the most. Okay, what's this culture really like? Go look at it. Doesn't matter, the cliches that you can spit out organizationally or whatever. They're going to walk in that locker room and say, who's the highest paid players? What are they about? And so last year with Grady, that's why I'm fortunate every day that we were able to keep Grady here, is he took this team over. He's got real leadership attributes. And so when you add guys like David and Bud and Calais, and it helps the growth of like TQ, Zoe, it brings other guys along. But you're not going to outwork Grady Jarrett.
Anything else?
Is this a Matt Bergeron question? Are we going to get?
Is it a what?
Is it a Bergeron question?
I'm getting.
I don't mean to peg you. I just
Well, it was more just a young players in general question. Maybe young.
Are you going
guys.
to and then all of a sudden drop Syracuse in there?
Yeah,
Okay.
go Orange.
What you got?
I was just wondering if any of the young guys have stood out to you so far. I know.
Yeah, I mean, Clark, Zach, those guys. Bijan, he had some, again, take it with a grain of salt, right? We're not tackling, but he had some runs that I thought would have popped. He had one yesterday. If he's who we think, like the player was at Texas, maybe that's a home run. He breaks the tackle. Good cavity. He's hit it. He's natural with his tracks. There's some things. I thought yesterday he ran some good routes. I think today he did have that drop. Very encouraged by all those guys.
Well, any updates on Goldman or Clay Campbell at this point?
Calais, just like I said, it's not going to be just give it at least 10 days, and then we'll update you there. We'll be smart there. Eddie, in a personal situation, like, Bradley Pinion had something come up last night. And I tell these guys all the time, there's life that happens outside of football, and there's some things that sometimes guys need to take care of, and you take it case by case. And the longer I'm in this business, you just never know what's going on. And we certainly provide all the resources that we can, and very mindful of that.
Scott in the back.
So when you think about Richie Grant, a guy like him, going in year 3, what sort of steps do you look for him being able to take? He was a pretty high draft pick a few years ago.
Yeah, Richie's made a pretty big impact here. So continue to get better. I mean, Richie has a knack for getting to the ball. Richie's a fun player to coach. I don't know, we don't have a lot of social media stars, so maybe he doesn't get the hype, but Richie Grant's a damn good football player. So, and then having Jesse back there and Hawk and Micah, we'll see, what those other guys go back there competing, Helms, Chatham. It's a damn good group. I think they're very well coached. I think you can feel Jerry Gray and Steve Jackson's impact back there, along with Jesse, and it's a fun group to be around and to coach. So very pleased with Richie. Maybe I'll tell him to be a more hollow social media star. Maybe he'll get more hype, but he's a damn good football player.